All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And yes, can you believe it? The Superman toys are just flying off the shelves. There is nothing left. All right, as you guys can tell by the thumbnail, I'm going to show you today on how some of the DC-centric channels and personalities on X are absolutely flat out lying to you about the popularity of Superman. Okay, and we're actually going to look at the McFarland Toys, and we're going to see how many of those have sold out since I did my video like 3 weeks ago. Like, it's getting crazy out there. The amount of lies and desperation from the people putting fake praise out there as at a fever pitch. I'm also going to take you to Twitter to show you how stupid the Gunn group is. And I have to flat out say it. They're not very intelligent. And I'm going to prove it to you with a post I did late yesterday. But let's get into some of the screen grabs. So first up, this has been making the rounds all over social media since yesterday. It says, Superman's legal battle returns. And it certainly does. Joe Shuster's estate refiled in New York State Court seeking to block Warner Brothers from exploiting Superman in the UK, Ireland, Canada, and Australia. Warner Brothers has until Friday to answer. A hearing is set for June 4th ahead of the July 11th release of Superman. Okay, so what does this mean? First of all, I can't tell you how many of the, I'm going to call them Guntards from here on out because that's how I see this. The Guntards came out and screamed at me when the last lawsuit got thrown out of court because they said it was a legal battle that Warner Brothers won. It was not a legal battle that Warner Brothers won. In fact, I had to point out to those individuals that the judge who was in charge of it threw it out because he said he didn't have jurisdiction over it and they would have to file it with the correct court. So Warner Brothers won nothing. Now, this could certainly hold up the movie's release at the last minute, or they may say, you'll have to wait until after the release. Who knows what the judge is going to say? Who knows if it gets thrown out again? But this has not been answered for yet. This is still a lawsuit that they're going to continue to try to file in an effort to squeeze out more money. And I don't think this movie is going to make a whole lot of money to begin with, so I don't know what they're worried about. And this could hurt the movie in a big way if it does not get released in those areas. But we will see. They do have, the hearing is set for June 4th. They had till today at some point to answer, the court does, to answer for this, or Warner Brothers to answer. And who knows? There hasn't been anything in the news since. Also, director Martin Campbell. I really like Martin Campbell. He did both the Zorro movies with Antonio Banderas. I like the first one. Really did not like the second one at all. But he tends to make some decent films. I didn't mind Green Lantern. I thought it was a decent first start, especially the extended cut. I just didn't like some of the dialogue in there. Some of it was kind of hokey. But director Martin Campbell says he wishes Ryan Reynolds was a credited writer on the film. I wish to God he had written the script. It would have been great. And so the issue with that movie was the story, unfortunately. It wasn't with his casting. It was with even the suits I thought were pretty good. I actually really enjoyed that movie. But, again, it had problems with the dialogue and some problems with the script. Also, somebody took this, when I talked about the suit in the last video, I was sorely mistaken. It was dark. They lightened it up, and you could see wrinkles galore on this. This is not. They have definitely not tightened this up entirely. It is tightened up a little bit, but there are wrinkles all around his rib cage and up and down both arms. This is just a terrible suit. Had it been tight-fitting, it wouldn't have looked so bad. But this just looks terrible, guys. Also, this morning, I picked up, this got shipped to me this morning. I ordered it the other day. Dark Knight's Metal Omnibus. Again, this was written by Scott Snyder. The very first time I ever got an omnibus was for Christmas. My wife bought me 2. I've been reading comics for almost 40 years, and the best run of DC Comics I've ever read is by Scott Snyder. He's an amazing writer, and he did, when the Batman, the New 52 came out, he did Batman. And he did that for quite a while. He wrote Batman for years. He then went into writing Dark Knight's Metal. He then went into doing the Justice League run, and then he went into doing Dark Knight's Death Metal. And I'm currently getting all of the omnibuses for this. It is the best run of DC I have read my entire life, and it's some amazing stuff. And I'm going to start leaving a link to these omnibuses in the description of the video. So if you guys are interested in picking these up, you can get them almost half off on Amazon. And if you do it through the link that I give you, it actually helps out my channel and doesn't cost you anything extra. So I am collecting a lot of the cool stuff that is coming out. Also, so if you guys didn't know, I am a review channel and I do review movies, and I would greatly appreciate it if you guys would watch more of the movie reviews, because it definitely helps my channel. YouTube will not show those to a lot of people because a lot of my subscribers and returning people are not watching these reviews. It would help me out tremendously if you did. So a lot of people don't even know that I do these movie reviews. I get bashed all the time on social media, and you're going to see this with what I'm going to show you on Twitter here in a few minutes, because I don't do enough review stuff. But I actually do review stuff. It's just that YouTube is not pushing it out there. So I do actually have a playlist of just movie reviews, and you guys should check some of those out. All right, so here was the picture that is getting passed out. And they're saying that Superman is flying off the shelves. This is from DC Film News. And I'm telling you guys right now, flat out, this is a lie. And I'm going to prove it to you. I could prove it just on this picture alone. I was in retail for about 22 years. And I've been around all kinds of resets, restocking, sales where things were jammed off the shelves. And here's what I'm going to tell you about this picture. These have not even been stocked. Because if you look at each of those price tags, they're perfectly placed. The pegs are perfectly placed on the board. If this had been a thing that had been stocked and had been sold, those tags would be bent. The pegs would be moved all over the place. Some would be missing. This is not a shelf that has been stocked. This is a shelf that has been set to be stocked but has not been stocked yet. So do not believe what people tell you online. In fact, these toys are not selling like crazy. They even put up a video. This same channel put up a video of a bunch of toys in one of these stores, and it was well stocked. And I couldn't believe how many of the Green Lantern, the Guy Gardner figures that they had in this style. I can't tell you how many of those are going to be left on shelves. It's going to be ridiculous. Nobody is going to be buying Guy Gardner. It's just asinine. All right, guys, so here I am on the McFarland Toys. You're going to see I'm actually going to refresh this so it's fresh and brand new. So there it's refreshed. And again, it's the same stuff that is sold out. You can still buy the entire bundle of all of the figures for $129.99. All of the superpowers are still available. Superman is still available, the $50 statue. The only one that is still sold out is the one with Crypto. All the other stuff is still available. This stuff simply is not selling. If it was as big and as exciting as people claim this is going to be, and how the excitement is at a fever pitch, it's going to be peak, people would be rushing to buy this stuff, and they simply are not. Okay, so now we're over here on Twitter, X, which has been a mess for the last couple of days. Oh, and by the way, there are some pictures of my theater room. This is where I watch movies. I'll just show you these pictures real quick here. This was from 15 years ago. This room does look quite a bit different, because all in the front there, where I have these baseboards where the wires run behind, I have memorabilia lining and going up everywhere. And so I kind of wish the room still looked like this, but over the years, with all the movie stuff I've collected, this room has been pretty jammed up with stuff, but it's still a really fun room. That's a 300 square foot room that I actually built with my own two hands, which is it's been a lot of fun for our family over the years, but people have been wanting to see that. Now, here's that post that I did that you're just going to see. You just won't believe the responses to this. I got to tell you guys, personally, I am just sick and tired of talking about James Gunn. I am sick and tired of talking about Superman. I cannot wait until this movie comes and goes. I cannot wait until James Gunn gets fired or his contract runs out from DC. I cannot wait until the day I do not have to talk about him. And so yesterday I posted late in the day, I said all the Gunn fanatics can do is talk about Snyder. I guarantee you, when Gunn gets fired or his contract expires and he leaves DC, I will be glad when I never have to talk about him again. And that is true. And everyone knows I talk about him. I admit it in the actual post that I'm just sick and tired of it. But wait till you see the responses. Like this just blows my mind. He says, this person said, you do the same. You should focus on Snyder's recent works. Be a critic, not a hater. Support Snyder, but also figure out his flaws. And I said, you clearly don't know my channel because I am not a Snyder-centric channel. Someone said, maybe you could talk more about Snyder's projects instead of endless repetitions of your imagined continuations of DC. I said, I am not a Snyder-centric channel. That makes zero sense. What do these people not understand? It's like they want to call me a Snyder tard or a Snyder cultist, but there's no proof that that's what I am. There never has been. I'm not a Snyder-centric channel. I absolutely love what he did with DC, but I'm not talking about him on a daily basis like they do. Someone said a bit hypocritical of you. I said, you don't know what the word means. They're like not reading and comprehending what I wrote. He said, you know you don't have to talk about him. That's entirely your choice. My response was, not possible. He's the head of DC Studios. He wrote and directed the voice actors in Creature Commandos. He wrote and directed Superman. And he wrote Peacemaker Season 2. He has made himself the focal point of DC. It's unfreaking avoidable. And he puts himself front and center of every single picture that he takes and does behind the scenes. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Someone then goes on to show all the posts that I've done about James Gunn. They did a search so that they could specifically show, and they said, this is just this month. We still got another week to go. I said, I'm sorry you don't know how to read or comprehend. So sorry. Because they don't. They don't understand. That's kind of the whole point of the post. Someone said you'll simply attack another person in the same way just because it's not Snyder. And I said, that's BS. It's not about Snyder. Someone said, dude, you post about him in Superman movie daily, projection at its finest. Again, I said, sorry, you can't comprehend what I wrote. Someone said your entire account is dedicated to James Gunn. Talk about Rebel Moon. I said, what does Rebel Moon have to do with DC? This is the mentality of the people who worship Gunn. My whole post was about, I want to get away from it. I'm tired of it. But Gunn has made it so it's impossible. And one thing that's really funny, if you guys didn't notice this, and I'll show you on Twitter here, they had a comic version, and this is in my bag at the comic shop. Not this cover. I would never own anything with James Gunn's picture on it. This was an alternate cover for Superman Unlimited #1, which did come out this week, and I believe this was a cover by Dan Mora. And I love Mora's art. Like, he does some great stuff. Two things I'm going to point out. The suit is tight-fitting. It is not in the film. Also, if you notice in this picture, who's standing in front? It's James Gunn. It's not Superman, and it's Superman Unlimited #1 for the Summer of Superman. And James Gunn is the focal point of the cover. How sad is that? All right, guys, so there you have it. I had to get up another DC update for the weekend. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the lies that the studios tell you. Don't believe the lies that these outlets that are praising and worshiping Gunn tell you. It's not fact. I'm going to be bringing all of the stuff as I see it. When it gets released, I'm going to talk about realistic takes versus fabrication. And right now, all of these channels are eating this up like James Gunn is the second coming. Do not buy into it. It's not true. All right, guys, we will see you on the next update.